Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of the Croatian Sensation Podcast. I'm right here with my friend, a good friend, James Hollingshead. James the Shed Hollingshead.
Sure.
How the hell did we come up with that nickname?
That you can blame Luke and 𝗚'𝗟𝗚 for that, can't you? Well, actually, you can blame Dave Palumbo. So obviously, Americans always pronounce my name wrong anyway. So every time I was getting spoken about on an American channel, update, whatever the hell, it would always be Hollingshead. So Luke clocked onto that and found it really hilarious. Like it made him laugh every time because he couldn't pronounce my name right. So he used to do an American accent, say Hollingshead, and take the piss. And then he was like, "Do you know what? I think you should just keep that name because it sticks, and you should just be the Shed." And I think him and 𝗚'𝗟𝗚 kind of just threw it back and forth at me a few times, and eventually it just kind of, before I knew it, everyone was calling me it because once Luke said it,
it was over.
Mate, it's over. Once Luke put something out there into reality, it's fucking over. So literally, the Shed was Luke basically just putting it out there, and everyone wanted to listen to what he said. So I don't mind because it's kind of funny and it's very British. And obviously, I'm a British bodybuilder, so people seem to be using the name and the title often. So,
like you guys over there have houses, and then each house has a shed, right?
Well, most houses have a shed, and that's where you store your tools as such.
Yeah.
So your shed literally houses your lawnmower, your shovels, anything that you don't want in the house.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
If you don't have a garage, on your house, then you have a shed.
So you're made up of everything that people didn't want to.
I'm all the shit you don't want in your house. Great nickname. But you know what? What's kind of come from it is that I understand Luke's kind of vision for the shed, because the sheds, you can get quite big sheds. Like you can get pretty big sheds, pretty well built sheds. So it's more that it's a structure.
Yeah.
So it's like being called the house, like Eric Frankhauser. But to be fair, the house is better. Like, Eric done me on that one because he had the house. I wouldn't mind being called the house, and the house Hollingshead would have worked, but Shed's there now.
Yeah, Shed. Because at the time, I remember we were talking, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna start calling him the Shed," and I'm like, "Are you like, come on?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's fucking real, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Let's call him the Walrus," because at the time you were in the off season, and you had the like this, you had the mustache.
Yeah, and it was going into my mouth.
And you were like, and you had a belly from the breakfast at Spilled Milk.
Spilt milk breakfast every day. My off season was hairy.
So I was like, fucking hell, let's call him Walrus. And he was like, nah.
Walrus would have been good. Walrus would have been really good.
James the Walrus calling. And Walruses are fucking massive. They're like
400, powerful.
600 pounds each. So
it's a big old animal.
And but you know how Luke was when he made up his mind, it was over.
It's done. It's decided.
So when are the shirts coming out? ShedCon 1.
Obviously, I recorded earlier with the boys, and Ben was at Redcon offices, and Rudy, our manager, came into the conversation, and I should have asked, and I forgot. It came to my mind, and I was going to say, because Rudy about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, said the t-shirts are going into production ASAP. So that means any time, but now I need to know because I'm getting itchy feet now. I'm getting my thumbs are doing this now because I'm just waiting because I want to wear one. It's not even for other people. I want to wear one.
Yeah, exactly. It's gotta come out before the Spain show, and we're going to talk about that.
Has to. I need to take some with me to Spain to give to some friends.
I don't know if the coronavirus thing is like, the manufacturing. I don't know if that has anything to do with
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how. I'm not too sure on the manufacturing process of Redcon, like whether they have somewhere close by, or it comes from afar, because all the obviously design happens in store. Like they have the software available there, but where it gets printed, I'm not too sure.
The whole Redcon 1 team and everything that's being built around it, it's very professional. Like you can tell that it's been like you've been there, you and Luke were there for what, a week or so before the Arnold.
Yeah.
And I mean, say for yourself, like explain to the people, like what's the process, what's going on there.
Mate, it's really interesting you asked that, because you know what? Everything I've ever done and spoke about, no one's ever asked, which is really cool.
And by the way, how does it compare to previous companies? Because I think you were with Caged Muscle, you were with
I was
JP.
with Cage, I was with JP.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Redcon, like, they when you're in the team, you're in the team. They want you to come over. They want you to see HQ. They want to show you how hard they've worked to build this amazing company. And they want you to feel privileged to be part of it, but at the same time also feel happy that you're welcome, and they want to make you feel positive. Like, Aaron likes to show you what he's built. He wants to show you all the cool things, the gadgets,
The game room.
yeah, like he wants to show you everything. He loves to get you involved. And, you know, that's great, because the thing is, he focuses on creating personal relationships with people, which a lot of CEOs and presidents of companies, you never even meet, because they let the middlemen, they let the managers do all the work. So when you're at Redcon, like, you truly are around everybody. You can literally walk to Aaron's office. You can walk to Eric's office. You can walk to Eduardo's office, Rudy's office. Like, every single important person there has made themselves readily available for you to talk to and spend time with. It's the building itself is kind of like a mansion. Like, it's kind of like go through these big double doors, and then you can go left or right. It's like the mansion in Resident Evil, like the old two-way. You go left to the offices, or right to the where all the guys, like the graphic designers, work, sales team. It's awesome. Like, you're literally thrown in the deep end straight away. Like, I was there for a few days, and they've already got the camera out, whipping it out, and putting together an advert for FUBAR. My first time there.
I remember that.
They're getting you involved. They want you to feel like you're part of the team, and that you spend time in the media room doing adverts, taking pictures. Like, you feel like you're getting your job's worth. Like, you feel like you're doing your job, and you feel good for it, because you feel like you're involved. Because a lot of time you work with a company and you feel like they're not actually doing enough with you. And as a bodybuilder and as someone who's worked hard to get to this position, you want to give yourself to them, because you want them to use you for branding, for exposure. But at the same time, you also want to show the people that buy the products that you actually care about this brand as well. So I don't know, it's just really personable. Like, I haven't had that much personable relationship before, apart from probably with Jordan, because Jordan's a very good friend of mine. And obviously I love what Jordan's doing, and I love his mindset towards supplementation. I think he's great. I think he's an excellent formulator. I think you can't go wrong with anything that he provides, whether it's information on how to take supplements, and how to train. I think he's incredible, and I think what he's doing is definitely something to be pat on the back for. And I suppose what he's just Aaron, but not where Aaron is yet. And Aaron's just like fantastic, because Aaron came from a beginning that wasn't simple and was tough, and had some bit of a history himself, and he's kind of come out the other side and made things work. So I rate Aaron highly, because I just think it could have not gone this way, but he's made it. And I respect that a lot, because most things were against him at a point, and he's made this company now that's world renowned. I would say it's probably one of the most known companies in the world when it comes to supplements. They're continuously working hard to bring out new stuff to fit the gaps that are there currently. And he even asks us as members of the team our thoughts on product and stuff like that. So it's really cool, because everything's very involved.
I would compare Redcon and Trained by JP, like JP is a local butcher that knows his shit. He knows like the exact cuts, and he's gonna give you the best cuts. He's gonna provide you.
Yeah.
Redcon One is more like it's a major factory, but they make you feel like you're at the butcher's place down the alley.
Yeah, because if you was to go spectrum for spectrum, Aaron is an incredible businessman. He puts out products that are very, very good. They won't yield the patent ingredients such that maybe Jordan would use. They'll have the same ingredients, but they won't be the patent ones, because Jordan's very keen on that. And that's where Jordan's market is. Aaron's supplement range will more than cater for everybody. And it's obviously developed, a price point that is sensible, so that people can afford the range. Whereas Jordan's products are sometimes a little bit too expensive for some people. So taking all that into account, Aaron's obviously found a way to make good enough products for everybody that are affordable and worldwide. So like you say, like a fillet steak, you go and buy that, it's expensive, and it's not something you're going to be able to sustain all the time if you're not all about the bodybuilding. But for majority of people who like to train 3-4 days a week, but have other things going on and spend money on other things, they can afford to use the range of products like Redcon because the price point isn't out of reach. So I suppose a lot of it, like, would Aaron like to do products that are like patent every single ingredient? Of course he would. But, when business is part of the equation, it speaks for itself. You have to kind of be sensible. And, as long as, like, my opinion on supplements is as long as they have the ingredients I like, then I'm not overly fussed whether they're like the patent variation or not.
Like you aren't like, like Dexter Jackson back in the day, he would fill tubs of, I don't know, he would be with Muscle Tech, and it would tell like chocolate cream or something, and it would be vanilla inside. So he would basically open it and fill it up, with some other brand, and he would say that he was using Muscle Tech.
Yeah.
So I guess I 100% believe that you, Luke, or anyone on the Redcon team don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Don't have to. Listen, honestly, like I use every Redcon product that's available. On top of that,
really,
I use
everything.
Pretty much, apart from like the Moab, which is like a test booster, which I don't obviously need. Got enough of that. But other than that, I pretty much use everything, and then on top of that, I use some supplement needs health stuff because obviously they're very good. And they have,
amazing.
I know the owner Lee, and he's a good guy, and he's put together, him and Dr. Dean have put together products that I know will look after my health. So therefore I use them as well. But I buy them out of my own money. That's just something I use as well.
No way.
Yeah, of course. Like they would send them to me, but I'm very loyal to Redcon, and I don't want to. That relationship matters to me. So if I use any products outside of Redcon for health reasons, I'll pay for them because Redcon pay me.
That's true. But then again, I don't think that Redcon has what they have, like kidney stacks and liver stacks.
Yeah, not in a particular. Obviously, we have we have like an all-round kind of like med kit, which is another one that people should use, which has your astragalus, curcumin, fish oil.
Okay.
Which is a great product, but there is some fundamentals in there that I like to take on top, like you say, like 𝗚'𝗟𝗚, and then like the CV stack, stuff like that. Just things for heart health and stuff. But who knows? Eventually down the line, Aaron and Eric may decide to go, a little bit deeper into the health side of things as well.
Why not? I mean, it's a growing, it's an ever growing, it's a new market. I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago, nobody cared.
Listen,
like, you would post a little bit of 𝗚𝗟𝗟𝗡 with, with your pre-workout.
When I started bodybuilding, there was no such thing as health supplements for like your liver, or there was one thing, Live 52, and that was it.
𝗚𝗟𝗟𝗡.
Yeah, and there was nothing else. So think of the years that I was bodybuilding and many others that we were probably caning our organs and didn't realize.
Jesus, I can't even imagine. And people weren't even doing regular blood work.
No one did blood work back then. No one did blood work pre-2010, pre-2012, maybe pre-2014. It only really came in to be, I think, around about 2015, from what I understand.
I was personally used to blood work because I was actually sailing before I started bodybuilding, and we had to we were in a club, and we had paid for blood tests yearly as kids. Full EKGs, everything. Like I would know if I have a heart defect, I would know instantly, like anything, ergonometry, whatever you want.
That's great that you had that.
Yeah, and I'm used. Like I've done blood work since literally day one, so I know exactly what So if my creatinine is a little bit high one day, like I know that it was just as high when I was 18 years old because I have that blood work. So things like that where I think it's really important that people do that, and I think it came out when people started doing that when Dallas passed.
Yeah, so
that was really changed the game.
What year was that?
2017.
17.
17.
Yeah,
Late.
so, yeah.
It was around this time, actually. It's very soon. It's gonna be maybe in a few days. It's gonna be his anniversary.
Yeah, definitely. Opened the eyes to many people because everyone thinks they're invincible. Obviously, because we're young. When you're young, you think you can do anything, and it's fine. I'll wait. I'll worry about that when I'm older. I'll worry about that when I'm, an old man. You might not even get to be an old man if you've got that mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Hey, it happens, because previously there was only like 40, like masters guys that were still pushing the size. Like Nasser was still 300. He was fat, but he was still 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know all those guys. Ed van Amsterdam. I don't know all those guys that died in the 2000s. Eduardo Cavac. They all still pushed stuff. So it was like. But when Dallas, he was like, what, 27 years old? Like, that's 2 years older than me and 4 years younger than you.
Mate, exactly. And I can't imagine not being here now. Like, wow.
Imagine what happened in the last 4 years you were on this planet.
I know.
And
I
not
couldn't
being
imagine.
here to witness it.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
It's crazy.
And that's why it is important to fucking discuss this stuff. And, like I said, when we spoke the other day, like we've seen courses of people taking fucking over a gram of Trenbolone a week and
fucking
gram of test a week and gram of fucking Prestolone, and it's it's quite alarming.
I got shivers, man. I got fucking shivers.
It's because it's alarming. It's alarming. Like, I can speak as a pro. I consider myself quite moderate, and even then, I wish I could do less than I do. So these people that are like literally probably doing triple what I'm doing nearly, and they're not even at a point where I'm at in my life with my bodybuilding or being paid for it. It's quite alarming. It is quite alarming. And I wish that people would, because I don't blame them. I blame who tells them and who teaches them.
Yeah, it's...
Because the problem is miseducation here. It's like, you hire a coach because you expect the coach to be in the know.
To know. Yeah, they have no idea.
And then when the coach is telling you to do shit tons of this, you think that's normal because he's telling you everyone else is doing that, and it really isn't the case.
A friend of mine, I'm not going to mention names, but a friend of mine from Wales, he's also a really good friend of Luke's, and a certain British pro advised him to take 1,500 mgs of test and a gram of DECA. A gram of DECA.
What are you going to get? What are you going to get from anything over 600 of DECA, really?
Water.
And what are you going to get from anything over 750 test?
At that level. So not much.
You know what I mean? Like, most people, 500 test is plenty for most people.
Yeah. No.
You know this?
For sure. Yeah, I do.
I've run periods of like 500 tests, even less, and felt still good for ages. I've run 250 tests for weeks on end. Weeks on end in between gaps.
Like when you were like 300 plus with JP, that was like early 2018. I think that you were on like 430 or 450 tests or something.
Yeah. Well, my test
minimum.
wasn't high. Yeah, my test wasn't high. Jordan was more conserved with me. Like with me, like he was quite conserved because he knew that genetically I'm a hard worker and that my genetics aren't terrible, so he didn't have to like push the fucking numbers, which you don't want to do. No one wants to have to do. Lorenzo, I was going to turn my light on so it's a bit brighter. Only be a second. It's only there.
Yeah.
We'll resume.
This is behind the scenes, guys.
Yeah,
this is behind the scenes.
Still see my face because it's getting
dark.
Time now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what? 8:20 p.m. there.
Yeah, 8:20 p.m. Yeah. So yeah, like I've never really had to. There's been a couple of stints in my own time when I just kind of took charge myself, and I thought I'd try and push things a little bit and see what's what.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. Like, was there ever a time, and if you can, like, tell people what pushing means.
So for me, the pushing was never really with the anabolics with me, if I'm honest. The pushing was more with like testing what insulin does, and I think that's the one thing I kind of pushed. And even then, it wasn't even that much. I think I pushed like a lot. To me was like 12 units pre-training and like 15 post. And that's pretty. It's pretty high in my opinion.
Yeah, that's like 120 grams of carbs and then 150, and that's a lot to cover.
So imagine how I feel when I hear that people are doing
60.
yeah, like these crazy numbers, and like because that was only like for a short period just to see, because more for my own knowledge to see how, I try to learn for myself. The reason I've worked with so many coaches is because I'm always trying to learn. So, there's been periods of time where certain coaches are coaches that like insulin, and then others that don't. And for me, in order to like kind of learn the most out of it, is I've trialed things and done things. And
And at some point, and that's what Luke was doing as well, you have to let things slide a little bit. Just,
yeah,
just to say, at least you can say, that's what I said to my client the other day. You have
Yeah.
to let things go to see if they work.
Of course.
80% of the time they will work, but 20% they won't. And you have to be vocal about those 20%.
And it's also about working out like whether the more was better. So I soon came to realize that the presence of insulin is quite insignificant.
Right.
It's not
I was told, and you're not lying, I was told by quite a few top amateurs and pros and coaches that I asked them, like, how important is insulin? And they were like, not very.
really not. Like, honestly, with Patrick, since my diet changed, probably the last time we changed my diet for this show, we were doing my lower calorie days on training days. So it means that there's no need for insulin. So we have not used insulin for
At all.
weeks
Wow.
at all. Zero, none. Like pro bodybuilder not using insulin, fuck. And I'm still like I say,
And before that, guys, it was like what, 10 units?
Yeah, before
a
that
day?
it was like religious to do it. Like if you didn't do it, you felt like you missed something for the day. You're
No,
like,
no, no,
fuck,
no,
I
no.
didn't-
But I mean, before you made the switch to
Oh,
no
it
insulin
was
with
mate, it was like
Patrick.
it was like 5 pre, and I think we did like 4 post or some shit.
Yeah, okay, 9.
It didn't even exceed 10 IUs total,
But
and it was
that's enough to
facilitate the
because you're 300 pounds.
exactly.
You're not like me. You're not 220.
Yeah.
At 220 pounds, and I consider myself I am a smaller bodybuilder, and I don't need it. So when I hear guys even smaller than that, like at 200, 180, 190, soft, doing that, it's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game.
There's guys your weight doing 40 IUs of insulin a day.
Fucking hell.
It's like there's really no need. Like fuck, like you should be training.
Take a GDA.
Well, exactly, but you should be training hard enough, and you should be eating well enough that your body's ability to partition those nutrients shouldn't be under stress. Like you should be. Your body's meant to be prime. You're a bodybuilder, man. You're meant to live like a Buddha, like a monk. You're meant to be so on point that your body can operate well, and that's the difference between the people that use insulin. A lot of them, and I'm not saying it's everyone, because some people are fucking fantastic bodybuilders and they just use insulin. It's the way it is. But a lot of them use it as a way just to fucking think that they can slam on a load of mass. Like, okay, if I take insulin with these meals, it's going to make it uptake better. But your body can secrete enough. Your body can do enough in most situations.
You know what's the problem? It's basically an air pump, a balloon pump. You're doing this, and once you're done and you remove the pump, you're just gonna fizzle out.
Listen, take insulin out of some of these bodybuilders and look how much they unswell.
It's honestly, interesting, isn't it?
They'll literally look like they're fucking. And I would actually probably say that might be a problem with my previous preps, is that I've had insulin present in my preps, and then I've kind of pulled it quite close to a show, and a lot of the fullness I had was reliant on the insulin. Whereas now, because we took insulin out so far out from the show, everything that's here now is here now.
Do you think GH might be, when it comes to the fullness, the fake fullness in prep? Do you think that IGF-1 and GH can cause that as well? Because let me read it. When it comes to, I talked to a few guys, and they said, like, I think in Kuwait that they're like their GH and the high volume training and the high food. And once you have to get that fine little detail with condition, you have to drop some of the wet compounds. It has to be gone, and with that, the fullness fizzles out. So, do you think that GH can be a cause of that as well?
I think for some individuals, listen, everything's individual, and some
Of
people
course,
respond
yeah.
to certain compounds, different others. Some people you put GH
Yourself
in.
though. We're talking
I
about
don't
you.
know. GH for me doesn't make me inflate. So like, I don't do GH and immediately put on 5 pounds, whereas other people, me and Jordan often talk about GH, and he likes GH. He puts on like 5 pounds of swell when he does it. I don't typically, whether it's because the GH I'm using is legit or not, who knows? But for me, I'm definitely a bit rounder and a bit fuller on it, but it doesn't make me actually swell. Not for me
It doesn't
personally.
make you hold water.
No, like I'm not. I can
Like you
get
could,
dry.
you,
I
you.
can get show ready with it in or with it out. It doesn't
That's
matter.
what I wanted to hear. Yeah. So.
I wouldn't have to drop GH out 2 weeks out.
But then again, you're minimal with GH as well. So maybe that's what
Might
separates.
be. Yeah, because then you're not getting the sides. So obviously the side effects actually, the negative side effects could be the fact that you're getting that cellular swelling, but on the sub-Q kind of level,
Because
and that might be too much use.
10 to 12 is different than 5 to 6.
Exactly. Like we use, Patrick's an advocate of like only literally like 2 twice a day. So 4 I use, and
That's like I hope that people are gonna listen to this and hear this and just
I hope so.
really question their because you are 285 pounds right now.
Probably about 287 actually. Like
287
literally.
with nearly shredded glutes from the side.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I'm a 7 week out bodybuilder that could be ready in 5.
Yeah, well,
So that's where my body fat starts. It's not terrible.
not terrible at all.
No.
So I hope it gives people a little bit of a perspective, like what they should aim for when it comes to, because I think the problem that most people have is like they think that drugs are magic. They think that it's gonna put on that real thickness really fast.
I've been guilty as well. Listen, after I won my first title as a super heavyweight, I was a little bit on the light side. So I thought, okay, I need to get bigger, and I thought drugs were the answer. I did, and then I placed shitter at 2 shows. Tells you everything. I got reliant, and I got complacent. All the hard work I put into getting that first British title as a super heavyweight got pushed aside, and I started to think the science of bodybuilding was more important than the work.
Yeah, because you were at that level though. You were.
I thought, okay, I'm at this level. I'm going to just put a little bit extra drugs in, and I'm going to level up.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
Couldn't be further from the truth. I should have just kept focusing on exactly what I was good at, and that was working hard.
Like Luke was telling me like constantly, like I knew in detail what he was doing all the time, and I can tell that from the 2017 Arnold Classic cycle and the 2019 Arnold Classic were 2 completely different cycles, but they dropped by a gram total.
Yeah, it would have been less because when he worked with Chris was very reserved. Chris doesn't push people with a lot of gear, and that is why I have a lot of respect for Chris as a coach, because he's certainly not a drug pusher.
Yeah, you worked with him for a while, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that, but it's just it's very hard, like, to convey that message that people should be, because what people do, like, instantly, like they're gonna listen to someone. It's gonna be like, mate, you don't need just 350 tests. You're gonna put like 10 pounds. What are you gonna do with those 10 pounds? Try 500 tests, 300 deca, add in 40 D-ball for 4 weeks, then add, you know what I mean? And you're already
I see it a lot.
You're already at a gram, and you're nowhere near where you need to be.
The big issue is that what happens is that you've only got so much attention, and focus. And if your attention is mostly diverted towards what am I taking, what is left for what am I doing? And
Very
you
good.
need to be, and the more you're doing, like working hard, the less attention needs to be put on what am I taking. And a little bit of taking mixed with a lot of doing goes a lot further than fuck all doing and a lot of taking.
Because I think it can fuck with your recovery, because you're not sleeping well, because you have all these side effects.
Make you feel like shit.
You can't train because you're lethargic. You can't eat because you have no appetite.
It's stress on the human body, which is only going to, in time, come to the surface and be noticeable. So spots on the skin, rashes, sweating profusely, like anything that's going on in there, eventually going to see it outside. And if those things are happening, imagine how uncomfortable you're going to feel in yourself. And that's in yourself. Like, imagine how you are inside. So, you know, you just got to be, you got to consider that a machine isn't necessarily better with more components rammed into it. It just needs the right components in it that work well together.
No, I always say it's like putting, like my friend bought an older BMW M3, and it had race car sparks and race car oil in it. And you know what happened? The race car sparks fried the electronics because they're old, and the race car oil corroded the engine. So
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
You have to be prepared for what's to come.
I always look at it like it's very similar to like just simple as digestion. So human body, you've got to put enough food in that it does the job, but not too much that it causes issues, and not too little that it does fuck all. And that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line. You just put enough in that does what it needs to do, but not so much that it causes stress.
We're gonna end this segment by the quote from the great Luke Sandoe: "Take the piss out of your training and nothing else."
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, mate, listen, taking the piss out of your training is why I do what I do in the gym.
Yeah.
It's the one place you fucking can.
Dude, let's talk about that. Like, I posted on my story yesterday, and you replied because I asked, "What the fuck, James?" Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're 7 weeks out. Like, are you trying to, like, you're going for, week per week, like 7 weeks out, 7 plates? Is that it? Like, are you trying to,
That was just actually a coincidence. That was a real coincidence.
Fucking hell. Like, and it looks, the way you put the weight on the back, the way people use monolifts for 5 plates. Like, you walk out. You don't have any special belts. You put wraps, but it's nothing crazy. You don't have a squat suit, and you just go. It's like you're a candle. You're like this. Dum, dum, dum.
Try to be.
Like a
Try
piston.
to be.
Like a piston. Like, where does that come from?
Just I don't know, just it's a desire to be unique. Like strength for me has always been the first driving force that got me in the gym. So that came before bodybuilding. So, it'd be a lie to say that I don't want to be the person who's remembered for being a very strong bodybuilder, because I love it. Like, I'm not going to bullshit. Like, I love the fact that my friends say, "James, you know what? You're fucking good at that." Like, it's another thing to be good at. Bodybuilding itself is great to be good at. Like, I'm glad I'm a pro and I can be considered a great bodybuilder. That's lovely. And why not, on top of that, also be someone that in the gym was unmatched, that people can't touch? Like, I love it. I think it's like there is ego. Of course there's ego. Like, I enjoy it, but I only go as far as my body's capabilities and my understanding of myself. Like, you'll never see me ever overextend my reach. I'll only ever do what I know I can. And I just so happen to believe that I can do more than 99%, because I have to have that mentality in order to be good at what I do, because I can't consider that there are people out there who can do better.
It's
just what it is, isn't it?
So it's basically a competition in your head, because you're
Yeah.
probably thinking like, okay, Kim Williams is squatting 4 plates for 25. What am I going to do? Is that it?
Absolutely. And I want Akim to look at me and I want him to look at me and be like, "Fuck." And then I want him to step his game up, because I know in response to that, I'll see him do some mad shit, and then I'll step my game up. And that's how everyone gets better. It's like me and Samson, yeah? We're friends. We are friends, even though we're rivals. And his improvements and my improvements force each other to go away and keep working harder. And it's the same shit. It's just this is the gym side of the bodybuilding rather than the stage side.
Yeah, and that's the most important side, IMO, the gym side,
Mate,
because that's where you create
you create, and the thing is the bottom line is you have to lift load for reps and do it well. And it's not like I'm getting under the bar and I'm doing 1 rep. I'm getting under the bar.
No.
I'm getting under the bar and I'm doing 10, because I'm not fucking about. It is what it is, and I enjoy it.
But did you like from day one, for example, Jay Cutler said that day one, he was benching 315. He was squatting as a teenager 700. Like, was that you, or was it like progressively?
Far from it. I was awful.
No way.
I was a shit squatter for quite a while, and then what happened is a friend of mine, Julian, who's actually a vegetarian powerlifter, came to my old gym, and we trained legs. I trained legs like a powerlifter for a while, so we did like 3 days a week. So squats 3 days a week, and I did that with him, and I spent time with him, and my squats shot up tremendously. My body didn't look great because my training wasn't very bodybuilder-esque, but when I converted back to training how I normally do, the strength carried over and the technique carried over, and now squat is something I'm extremely comfortable with because of some of the pointers that I got from him during that time. I'm grateful for that.
Very interesting, because I tell the guys, the younger guys coming up, like, don't be like, learn the proper technique and try to get really fucking good at it, and really strong through the movement. But but at the same time, like, being like so focused on the form again and activation, like, it's not that great. So you have to have the load.
Yeah. I know a lot of coaches in England that have got no muscle, that are so concerned with execution solely that they think there's no load, and I'm like, that's why you've got fuck all muscle. Like, you can afford to loosen your form a little bit and get a bit of body English in there, and you'll look a lot better for it. Stop fucking focusing so much on execution, because you are never going to have muscle if you stay doing that.
Because progressive overload comes in many forms. It can be form. You can be stagnant in the weight that you're doing, but I don't know.
Lift better. Yeah. If you did 10 reps with so and so 1 week and they were a little bit shaky, the next week you do 10 again and they're perfect. That's progressive.
But you have to get to that shaky then. You know
of
what
course,
I mean?
Before you get to that, but yeah, you have to.
Like, it's what I tell people, like, when you're like 12, 13 years old and you're trying to do in your bedroom, you're trying to do sit-ups or push-ups, and you're like struggling the first day.
Yeah, like rattling when you're trying to do a chin-up or sit-up, sorry. Yeah.
And then the next time you do 2 like that, and then you do 3 and 4 and 5.
It should look like this. So it should be messy, neat, messy, neat, messy, neat. So it's that kind of, like you say, it's the graft is going up. Yeah, a staggered graft going on in an upwards trajectory, which, isn't a straight line.
Yeah, I mean, how long you've been training for? What, 15, 16, 17 years?
Yeah, I've been like in the gym actually since I was about 14, and I'm 31. 14. So
almost 20 years. So
not far. Yeah,
it's like, when you put it in perspective, it's crazy because you're still young. You're not old.
But the funny thing is, because I've been doing it so long, that's why I find it actually hard to kind of convey things, because it's so normal to me to do it that
exactly
word training is almost like going back in time for me, because when you've been doing something so long, you don't look at it from a text standpoint. You look at it from a natural standpoint where it's automatic. So I'm not the best teacher because I don't teach. I do. You know what I mean?
That's what Hunter Labrada said about his dad when it comes to mandatory poses, which are very important today in bodybuilding, because Lee Labrada is like
one of the best poses ever.
Just do it. Like, just do the front upper biceps.
Because he could just do it.
He knows it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's I think, I know how to convey because I was a writer for Brutal Muscle, and I did the podcast, and so I can explain myself a little bit better. But then again, it's still unfathomable to me that some people, how some people say that they're missing meals, or like, what do you mean you miss meals? Like, how is that a possibility? Like, in my mind, it's not.
How is it even? It's like as normal as fucking getting dressed in the morning. Like, you don't forget to get dressed.
Or people ask me, oh, you're going to train, like, is it tough? Like, oh, it's 5 days a week. And I'm like, it's just normal to me. I just go to the gym and you know, I'm going through the motions basically.
Well, this is what
And
me and my old friend Steve Avery say a lot. It's like the problem with today's soft bunch, like most of them, is that they feel like it's an addition to their already existing life. So, I've got to do the gym on top of what I do. I've got to eat on top of what I'm going to do. Whereas the old school is what I do is eat and what I do is train.
yeah,
And
I
that's
always
different.
say,
It's not additional. It's what the fuck you do.
yeah, I always say, you know, people ask me if it's a sacrifice. I'm like, I would be sacrificing if I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, you'd be sacrificing
Bodybuilding. I don't want to sacrifice bodybuilding for
and
clothes.
imagine how you'd feel when you're not feeling purposeful and not feeling fulfilled.
If I knew that I fucked up that day, it would destroy the rest of my week. It's
Exactly.
not. So yeah, that's what you need to do in order to get to the level where you want to be. Like,
Do it. Shut the fuck up and do it, and you'll lose more than you win, but that's fine.
like neither of us two, like Luke had nearly perfect genetics.
Oh yeah,
Neither of us two have perfect genetics, but we're making progress yearly.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're gonna be top 10, maybe top 5 in the world, maybe hopefully, like we're hoping. We're working towards you winning the Arnold Classic.
We're fucking working on it. Even if I have to fucking, you know, I don't know. Even if I have to fucking tranquilize half the rest of the fucking lineup.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Release COVID-20.
Yeah, well, this is it. But yeah, man, it's just like I think
It's the
about
passion.
it.
It's the passion.
I think about it often. Like I was watching a program earlier with my missus about cheerleaders in America and how they go through this really strenuous year of prep for essentially a camp for a few weeks where you get picked to be in this squad. And one of the women got to the day before, like if she made it to the next day, that was it, she was in, and she got sent home. And at first I was like, fuck, that's terrible. Imagine how that feels. And then I was thinking, fuck, how many times have I done the British Championships and lost, but still come back? It's the same shit.
Same shit.
It's the same shit. So, but when you want something bad, you don't look at it like, oh, look what I've just lost. You look at it like, I'm going to keep going. Look what I'm going to gain. And that's what, you know, it resonated with me earlier because I was thinking, yeah, I'm on the outside. I'm looking at this woman and she's just felt like I'm thinking she's felt like she's lost a whole year's hard work, but she hasn't. It's accumulative. You know, she'll come back next year and she'll probably get what she wants. And that year that she just spent doing that was well worth it.
100%. It's like, and you have to enjoy the process. Like that's the most important. Like I never understood, and like Muhammad Ali said that he hates every minute of training, but he's still training 6 hours a day because
see, I'm not
that's
like
what
that
makes him. That's what makes him best in the world. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't, because I love what I do, and that's why I get in the gym and lift.
Like during the coronavirus thing, I had every excuse not to continue, but I did. You know what I mean? Like you had as well. Like you could have said, "Fuck."
I could have just chilled, man. I could have gone. You know what? I got an excuse to have a break now. You know, I could be like, look, Redcon, sorry, I can't train. You know, so you know, but you know.
Yeah, I know exactly. Many people did that.
Yeah. Could have posted sales and stuff still, but you know, how would that fucking, you know, how would that invigorate me?
Fulfill you. Yeah. No way, yeah. And I think it's a little bit due to the fact that we are both early starters. You started at 14, I started at 15, going to the gym, okay? I started being like really serious about it 2021. You were around 18, I think.
Yeah.
So we took a few years of developing towards, you know, being serious.
Well, the thing is like it hit you as adolescence became a very important part of your life, where you come to a crossroad on what you're going to be as a man. You know, that's the age where you start to actually think about what am I going to be.
And whichever course of action you take at the time, be it academically or
it would have lasted a while. Because let's say you chose university, let's say you chose education, whatever, that would have been an extension for quite a while. Whether it was a job, it would have been an extension for a while. You know, whatever you chose at that point would have certainly taken up a portion of your life for quite a few years. So it's a very important decision.
Yeah, it is. Because in other sports, for example, I wanted to be an alpine skier, and I was
Yeah.
around 12 years old. And they told me, you're too old. You're too old. You have to start at nine at the latest.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a little bit due to the fact that, for example, in the States, a lot of the guys start bodybuilding when they realize that they aren't good at
It's
their
normally
sports
yeah.
in
Normally
college.
normally most people have done a sport beforehand. It hasn't like Phil with basketball, and then
Yeah,
bodybuilding's kind of back up. You obviously had good genetics because you were good at sport, but just not elitist. And
yeah.
then bodybuilding is a door that you can go into.
So
Definitely.
here's one thing. You mentioned Phil, and he's coming back, obviously. Big fucking news, everything exploded.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil is coming in. I believe, by the way, Phil blocked me on social media because of a
What?
review that I posted.
Why am I not surprised?
So, do you believe, because I do, that Phil Heath never had, he might have loved bodybuilding, but he never had a real passion for it. Like, he would switch his 7 Olympias for being a starter in the Denver Nuggets if he could have. That's my opinion.
Maybe, yeah. Like again, this is all anyone listening. This is all opinion, and everyone's
Yeah,
entitled to an
no,
opinion. Maybe, yeah, bodybuilding was something he fell into and he was good at, but it wouldn't have been his first choice. And that's just the way it is. Whereas someone like Arnold, I feel like bodybuilding was everything to
everything.
them. Yeah, it's certainly a different. The entrance was different. It's all about how you enter it, because if you enter it with the passion immediately, like that's the first thought.
Why did you want to compete in bodybuilding?
Um, mine was really like basic, because all it was is because I had an influence who was an older friend of mine, one of my best friends, Luke, who was competing, and I was just at an influential age where I was young and found it was impressionable and it was cool and it was different, because I have always wanted to be different than society wanted me to be. So when I was a kid in school, like we'd be told, asked by the teachers, what do you want to be when you grow up, kind of thing. And I was always like, different. Just want to be different. Don't want to be the same as everyone else. And back then, bodybuilding was unique because it was quite, I say back then, it wasn't even that long ago, but the world's changed a lot in such a short time. When I first started competing, there was obviously no social media, and bodybuilding was cult, and the bodybuilding gyms were far and few. The industry was small. Protein shakes weren't cool. If you were seen drinking a protein shake in public, you were a dickhead.
Yeah, it was different.
So it's very different, and I
I
loved the fact
remember.
I loved it being different, and my friend was the doorway into that. Like I looked at my friend with awe, and I thought, he's really cool. I want to be like him. He was like my older brother. So for me, it was just to be like someone who I aspired to be like. I just had someone who was an influence, because he was my influence, because obviously I didn't have my dad around, so I was
Yeah.
I very easily was imprinted by older males, like in a sense that I could always find a quality to another male who was older that I can truly respect, because I was looking for it. I was always looking for, what is it that I'm missing in my life? And my friend obviously provided a certain amount of something that I
Yeah,
found from him and I liked, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to be like him.
yeah, but
And that was it.
that's the deeper analysis. At the surface, you wanted to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
That's
at the surf, yeah, I did. Yeah, the body. I wanted to be the bodybuilder because I liked the fact that the bodybuilding way of life made you different than the rest of society.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's all that I was looking for,
Yeah.
because like you weren't like, oh, what am I gonna do now? I failed at school. Well, this might work out, so let's try do
Oh
this.
no, yeah, no. I was solely focused straight away. Like my
You
first
wanted to be
goal.
from the day one, you want to be the best
Yeah,
you can fucking be.
I was six. I remember being 16 years old, and I said to my friend Luke, I said, I'm going to win the British juniors. I'm going to be junior Mr. Britain like Flex Lewis,
There you
and
go. So
that was my first goal, and it
you
happened. It
wanted to be.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah, you know how I started? I saw Kevin Levrone pose at the 2002 Mr. Olympia. You know,
I
to
got second.
Creed.
Yeah. Everyone loves that because that's what we listen. That's why any of us know that song, just because of Kevin Levrone.
Yeah, and the way he brought the house down, I was like,
Yeah,
I want to do that one day.
I've got to be like that guy.
I want to get on that stage, bring the fucking house down, and the commentators saying, "This
Wow.
guy fucking brought it. This is it." I want to be that, and that was the 15. I'm 10 years later, nowhere near,
Yeah.
but maybe in another 10.
Well,
We're gonna
mate,
get
listen,
there. So
you know you've got time, and as long as
yeah.
you're doing it, it will come.
So that would be your main advice, basically, for anyone chasing.
Yeah, don't deviate, because deviation restarts the process, because deviation makes you have to reboot, and if you have to reboot several times, you've lost years.
Although you did deviate
I did
at
shortly,
some
and it looked way,
point.
and it cost me, and I can tell you that from experience. It cost me 2 years. It cost me 2 years of my bodybuilding to get back to where I needed to
But
get
then
to.
again, you learn something in life.
I did.
So
I
if you
did. I
go
did.
back and change that, maybe you wouldn't be a bodybuilder anymore.
I don't know, but you know what is, and what happened has happened. And I'm not ungrateful. I'm very grateful.
Fuck, you've seen Kilimanjaro. So
Exactly, mate. Listen, I've got to the top of the highest peak in Africa. Like, it's pretty fucking cool. You know.
yeah,
It's cool.
you tick that off your list. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I'm not just a one-trick pony. You know what I mean?
yeah. You're a Swiss pocket knife. When it
This is
comes
it.
to Swiss, you
Swiss.
are coached by a very influential coach. He has rise through the ranks in the last few years. I won't say on the back, but off the back of Nicolas Woolywood.
Yeah, no,
That's
definitely. That's definitely a client that brought a lot of attention to him.
and that's Pat. I almost said Patrick Moore, Patrick Tuor, Patrick Tuor. He was actually extremely popular, like for a long time here in Europe, like on this side. Like no, Britain guys, if you're listening, British bodybuilding and European bodybuilding are two completely different, separate entities because British bodybuilding had their British finals. Europeans had their European championship and state championships. So we didn't collide.
There's no mixing.
So yeah, so you couldn't have possibly heard about him, but he was like him, Mauro Sassi, guys like that. They were really important. So now he's spearheading into the pro ranks. He obviously coaches Ian Valier. He coaches you. He coached Josh 𝗚'𝗟𝗟 for a while. He's racking up more and more guys. So when it comes to Patrick, like, what's your biggest takeaway from him? Like, you've worked with plenty of coaches, but what's your biggest takeaway from Patrick?
The biggest takeaway from Patrick is that your coach needs to be as passionate as you are about your achievements. So, if you wish to be Mr. Olympia, if your coach doesn't want you to be Mr. Olympia, then it doesn't fucking matter. Like, they have to want you to succeed. And Patrick's a very, very personable coach who extends his own energies and respects to every one of his clients. Like, he treats them like they're his sons. Like, he literally reaches out to them. He sees how their day is. He monitors how they're feeling, and he cares. It's the care factor. I could speak about nutrition all day, and I could speak about training all day. And
which
they're great.
You do on the box.
Obviously you do, and it's great. But I think the most important thing is that when someone has a certain way about them and you can trust them, then that says a lot. And my levels of trust for Patrick, like, not that I haven't trusted coaches before, like as a people, but trusting them as coaches is different than trusting them as people, because you can trust the person with your life. I could trust Jordan, I could trust Chris, maybe like I trust Phil, like to not be to reach a hand out when I'm in trouble. Yeah. But can I trust him to be the best coach? And that's the difference.
Interesting.
Because with Patrick, I have an unbound amount of trust in his abilities to coach me. And that's why I'm with him.
I think that your biggest mistake as a bodybuilder the past, I don't know how many years, was that you were too impatient. You would go into a show, like, at least once a year you have a major, I'm going to say, fuck up. Like last year, not so much. Placing wise, look wise, maybe. but placing wise, you were okay. Apart from maybe the New York Pro, which was the top lineup. But like 2018, you placed dead last in Tampa, or 18. 17, you placed dead last at the Arnold Classic Europe, right? So
Pretty much, yeah.
you've dealt in the same year. You've dealt with major failures and major success, because in 2017, a week
3 weeks
later,
later.
you achieved
3
the
weeks
best
later.
look ever as an amateur and fucking won your pro card.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like literally, so fucking flopped at the Arnold. I did Poland
what happened? Excuse me. What happened at that Arnold? Like, what was the problem?
Too aggressive with carb loaded, like just too aggressive.
Oh,
literally,
that's the usual. The usual.
Yeah, literally very simple, just too aggressive with carb load. I just didn't need to do that. I could have just eaten a bit, and
And quickly, do you think you were better in Poland or in
Poland? Poland.
Yeah, I agree. I think Poland was your best look as an amateur.
Poland. I was fresh. Like, I looked really nice. I wish I looked like Poland in the British, because I would have actually been more content with turning pro looking like that. Because I still feel, for me, that
you say this to be at your best.
Yeah, and I say this all the time. I've seen many people turn pro in England, yeah, and I'm nowhere near the top of the list as someone who turned pro. I do believe I'll be better than pretty much every one of them as a pro, because I'm willing to continue working and endure more than they are. So, majority of people that turn pro give up. Yeah, they just don't stick around. I know I'll be a better pro. I know I'll be a better pro by the end of my career than 99% of them. But in terms of turning pro, my look wouldn't have beat half of them.
Just quickly, why do you think that English bodybuilders, because I'm a huge, that's why I'm like friends with a lot of you guys from England, because I always respected British bodybuilding, because I think you guys bring the best condition as amateurs. You guys are huge, you work hard, you have the best gyms. It's fucking amazing. But at the same time, apart from Flex Lewis and Dorian, who had amazing success, nearly no one else had almost no success, except maybe Charlie Claremont and Ernie Taylor.
Ernie, yeah.
Yeah, but that's still, it's not,
no. There's only one answer to that, and it's that they didn't want it enough.
The desire.
They didn't want it enough, because you make it work, and they can listen to this, and they can say otherwise, but if they can even for 1 minute say that something else got their attention and they put their focus into that, then it means you didn't want the bodybuilding enough. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to criticize them, because they've had good lives, and I respect them all highly. Some of them, it was enough just to be the champion. But
the British champion, yeah. And you were the last British champion.
Yeah, and for me, that isn't enough. Yeah. And that's the difference,
Yeah, that's true. Or do you think maybe that they did too much too early to win that championship?
I think it's more just desire. I just think, I think
could be.
Unfortunately, a lot of English felt that the juggernaut that is America is too much. And I've never thought that. I thought, fuck it, bring on the challenge. That's it.
That's what Dorian did as well.
Yeah, you have to have a Dorian mentality. You've got to be like, I don't care if they got fucking nice cars and sunshine. Like, we got dirty gyms and fucking hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like dungeons, and that's what it is. And that's just like, it's not me saying that is how it is, but that's like the mentality. Like, you create in your head a scenario, and the scenario being that I've got it, I've got a nasty kind of environment, but it will feed.
Look, everyone has 2 legs and 2 arms.
Yeah.
The chicken is 23 grams per 100 protein in the States.
Now it's what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, and 100 milligrams of test is 100 milligrams of test.
And Lorenzo, that's why it goes back to why do I do what I do in the gym? Because that's the only thing that's going to separate us.
Very good. That's very good. So back to Patrick. He wants the training to be what separates you, because I feel that's what I like about him, that training is the main thing, and then he revolves everything around that session.
Yeah.
Would that be correct?
Yeah. Nutrition and training are absolutely the pinnacle of what he does. Like, they have much more emphasis on them than everything else, and everything else is dictated by that.
Interesting.
But training specifically, training almost, like you say, rivals nutrition in importance for him, which is not usually the case for many, because he wants to know how your training's going, and he wants your training to stay good, and nutrition will be adapted in order to allow you to train a certain way so that you're metabolically, adapted. Pushing hard. Yeah,
because that's what, like, if your training suffers, your need goes down
and your muscles suffer. You lose size. You fucking this.
And that's what happened to you in the past.
Absolutely. Because what's happened in the past is that me being as keen as I am to get in shape, I'm very happy to suffer. So I'm very happy to pull calories. But the problem with being a heavy guy, I need calories. So to taking them out, really, I'm just hurting myself. And I've done it over and over again because I'm a sucker for wanting to work hard. But now, with Patrick, the good thing is that I can work just as hard. It's just the majority of it now is under the bar rather than on the cardio.
So, like this year, you're deep. We are almost at the tail end of a prep. Like 7 weeks out, that's serious stuff already. So, last preps at 7 weeks out, were you squatting 7 plates? Were you benching 450? Were you rowing 500 plates? Nowhere near.
No, definitely not.
Like what were the numbers? What were you trying to do in your training to still create the stimulus?
By now, I'll probably be squatting 5 plates.
No shit.
Yeah, 100%. And it'd still be, don't get me wrong, I'd still probably get like 15 out of it. But 15 on 220 versus 15 on 260 is a very different story.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's what retains the muscle that you have. Yeah. Because any dip in strength, like strength is gonna dip, like you're gonna suffer. You have your happy days are over.
But then that's where your coach, if they do control your training, need to understand how to accommodate your training to suit that, so that you're not overly working too much volume. Because if your volume's excessive, then the calories are being totally burnt through, and you're going to get into a massive hole, and strength is going to dip incredibly low, and then you're going to never be able to get out of that hole. So you're either going to be able to, you've got to do one thing or the other. You've got to keep the food a little bit higher and keep the training the same, or you've got to regulate the training slightly and make it a little bit less dense.
Interesting. When it comes to like your previous coaches, because every coach, apart from maybe Chris, but even Chris says that whatever you do in your training session, do it at 100%. So even he believes that training needs to be correct. But I don't know, like Phil, you worked with Phil Viz, you worked with JP. Like JP, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of training in bodybuilding. So I don't want you to talk crap about any coach. Like every coach that you worked with was incredible. But how couldn't the previous coaches figure out what you're figuring out right now? Like, what do you think? Where do you think was the problem?
I think with Chris, it's nothing personal. It's just that I had my energy, because Chris did good with me. You have to understand, Chris got me a 5th place in a pro show.
And you were already burned, yeah.
On an already burnt physique and a crash diet. He got me in shape in 5.5 weeks. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, and I got 5th. I managed to even pip some people that had done well at the Olympia. Yeah.
Lucas, yeah, Oslo, yeah, I remember.
Wasn't my best look, but he got me a fucking top 5, and I'll always be grateful for that.
When it comes to JP and the guys, like, what was the,
I think the thing with like me and Jordan, we're more friends than we can be that, and it's a difficult situation when you're someone's friend and you're giving them feedback, or you feel a certain way and you're telling them, I don't know, like it's very easy to get mixed communication, because him and I, on both ends, him and I think from both perspectives, client and coach, but also friend, and sometimes the two informations get
mixed.
And therefore you can't always get a good end result. So it's better that for me and Jordan, we just discuss bodybuilding like we do often. I show him what I'm doing to Patrick all the time, because he's very interested in my career, and I'm very interested in showing Jordan what I do, because we're really good friends. And it's better that way than either of us try to be too connected in a client aspect.
No, I can see that happening, because where you would maybe, you would tell him, today's, like, maybe sometimes you would not tell him, like, hey, today's training session was shit, because you were like, he's my friend, I can't tell him that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. Things like that. Or he might not want to say you look shit today as my coach because he's my friend.
Yeah, and at that level, that's what's needed.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And that's why, it is better to probably coach people who you're not personally too involved with, which sounds a bit oxymoronic with me and Patrick, because, I actually consider Patrick a really good friend, but I also consider him a very solid character that he will never bullshit me.
Yeah.
Like, he would, even as a friend, he'll say, fuck me, you look shit. Like, he would. And I know he would. So that's why I have no qualms with him being my coach.
Yeah. That's very important. So are you happy with how you're looking right now? Are you confident?
Very confident. I feel like I can win Spain, because I'm not even trying overly crazy hard yet, and we've got a lot of tools to play with, and Patrick's already set out the plan, and the plan already is one that I very much believe in. We'll be at the 6 weeks mark out in 1 week, and that's when we kind of push into that final phase for pre-show and focus on actually getting a nice and hard and bringing the look. Like, right now, it's just cruising along. We're not really trying to destroy me. We're never going to try and destroy me, but I mean, we're not crash dieting like I normally do. So I'm very confident. Like, I got third in Spain at the beginning of the year. Not in the condition I can get in, but fresher bodied.
Which was weird, because you were peeled all off season. You had glutes, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you know what? That's just a peak thing, isn't it? It's like Ian at this last show in the morning, his glutes didn't show, but then in the evening he looked much better. Yeah, it's just one of them fucking things, because glutes, if you're not full, glutes don't show.
By the way, were you? I have to ask the tough questions. Like, we are friends, but I have to ask these things. Were you worried at all when you saw Ian on stage? Like,
because what I felt he got wrong I felt what he got wrong more than even the peak was the tan. Like, I slapped myself when I saw him on stage, because I was like, Ian, man, I've done it before, so I know how I feel, but that tan has fucked you. Like, because even though he didn't peak perfectly in the morning, like, I still saw him in the top 4 regardless, but I thought, fuck me, like, you've made a very big error there on the tan front. Listen, I know how peaks go. Yeah, you can get something right 10 times. You can do something 10 times, get it right 9, and then one time it just doesn't quite work.
I honestly think one of the problems was, I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
That he had no eyes on the ground. He was alone. That's why the tan was off.
Yeah, because if no one's there, you do need someone up the show present, and that's where it would have been great if, like, Melissa was there or someone.
Anyone. Just like someone that's going to tell him.
I say his missus because his missus understands
bodybuilding.
Those and more so those final touches.
Yeah, and because the thing is, when you have someone there, like, pictures don't convey the message.
No, you need
100%. Like, Luke with Chris and Luke without Chris was 2 different bodybuilders on stage.
Yeah. And Luke had Ben there to be that second eye.
Yeah,
like you're talking about.
He even had someone. It still wasn't the same. Yeah. And Ian was alone, so it definitely worked as a factor.
And look, I also knew Ian was very stressed going into that show.
Oh yeah,
because there was a lot of it's the pressure, and like, he's human at the end of the day. Yeah, listen, he's confident in his speak because he has to be, because he's a strong character, and he's not going to show weakness because he's an athlete, he's a competitor, he's a champion. So he's never going to go on a podcast before the show and be like, "Oh, I feel shit." Like, he's a fucking man. Yeah. And he come out of that show and he still got fucking second out of a fucking pro show when he was like nowhere near what he can be. So I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. The great thing is that every show you do, you get feedback from and you work with it. And the way I look at it is that it's just more feedback for him and Patrick to bounce off each other and learn even more about bodybuilding. Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes it's annoying. Things don't always work, but I know I've done shows with people. I don't think I still peaked perfectly for any show. So
No,
I know how easy it is to not get right.
nowhere near. In my opinion, you were
Nowhere near.
85, 90%.
Exactly, and you know that,
And which is a shame because like me and Luke cared deeply about your success and was very frustrating. Like when we were having these conversations, where we would like send your pics from your showing to each other, we were like, fucking hell, like what?
What's he done wrong now?
It's like, and we know that you're listening 100%. We know that everything you do is geared towards bodybuilding,
and that's why I know it's
gonna happen. That's why I know it's gonna happen.
But also that's why I know it's not. That's why I've changed coaches along the way, because
you needed to find the formula.
Yeah, it's not a personal dig. It's just obviously the way that we work together doesn't bring out my best.
And at the end of the day, it's business. Like you're not.
Of course. I'm not
your
contracted
business.
I'm not contracted to any coach. I'm not like fucking stuck in a long-term relationship with anyone.
Yeah, and you need to better yourself.
Yeah, and if I like the fucking way that it goes, then the coach will have me forever.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
So, you're obviously gonna win this show. Like there's
that's the goal.
There's no.
Listen,
that's not the goal. That's the only outcome. Like
that's all I want. That's all I'm working for. Yeah.
You can't afford not winning.
Listen, I'm not. I've come fucking like 12th or some shit in the first one, third in the first. I'm making that same fucking leap again, and that means I'll be. If that leap worked how I expect, that means I'll be winning by a fucking good amount. Because I have to show what I'm capable of.
I'm seeing one guy that could maybe challenge you, and that's
Milan
𝗚'𝗟𝗟.
Milan can. He's great. Milan's a fantastic bodybuilder. I'll never take it from him. I think he's one of the best Caucasian bodybuilders on the planet.
Very true, but he's not progressing at the rate you are.
I think he's fantastic, and I will not take anything away from him. I just think that if I am my best, and if what I've done over the last year shows, then I'll be bringing something. Hopefully, when I step on the stage, it's quite apparent that it's a good bodybuilder.
Just if I can tell you anything, is just trust the process and don't let your head be swayed in any direction.
There's no time for that shit, bro.
You have to this.
None. Yeah, literally, blinkers on like a fucking horse.
And you won't get nervous.
Like this.
Yeah, and you're not going to get nervous that way. No way.
Nah. And I never am at the first show I do in the year. It's always later in the year. So every time I've done the first show is when I feel fine. It's just the longer you're on fucking drugs for and the longer you're dieting, you feel shit. So quite honestly, I'm excited that this is like a nice show where I'm fresh. Because when I'm fresh, I'm hard to beat.
I hope that Patrick will also come in as a coach, or I will step in if I need to.
He will. Don't worry, he's on me.
He will tell you, all right, enough is enough, mate. Like the third show is not happening.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, Patrick knows like
when to pull.
It's go and it's get the fucking job done.
Yeah.
Bang, and that's it. Get that fucking job done.
So, on that note, I want to leave for the final few minutes, like let's say another 10-15 minutes, to talk about a friend that we both lost, a guy that has influenced both of us greatly in what we do. I started with this podcast because of Luke Sandoe. He told me, start doing something or else nothing is going to come your way. So it's been 3 months, over 3 months that he left us. What are your thoughts right now? Positive, negative, like just...
strangely, I'm like relatively positive in a sense that I am at peace. I've seemed to have found a peace, probably because I have some murals of Luke in my room that I'm in now that I can sit with and think and talk to and feel like he's still somewhat here. Plus the fact that I'm still continuing on the path that we set, and I am not doing this show solely for myself. It is quite honestly, for Luke. I feel good. Like, I miss him greatly, and I think that it's a tragedy. But I'm also understanding that what has been, and for reasons that are outside of my control. And the best that I can do with the scenario is honour him and talk to him and just love him and respect him for the rest of my days. You know? And that's it, really. It's just honour him. Always honour him. Continue to work hard with Redcon and make sure that people know that the only reason I'm in the position I'm in is because that great man gave me an opportunity.
You seem a lot natural on camera lately. You put out more content. Do you think that that drive came from the fact that, oh shit, I need to pick up where he left? Was that a thought in your mind somewhere, like subconsciously maybe?
No, it wasn't subconsciously or anything. But the funny thing is, it's like I see the viewers appreciate that I'm doing what I'm doing because they're kind of like, it's the continuation, like the second series. Like, people are happy that there's still something coming from people who had the same passion, same opinions most of the time, and same philosophies. And I'm just honored that people even consider me 1/8 of what Luke is, and to even put us in the same bracket. And if what I say and what I do goes out there and people feel that they're still connected to him some way because of it, then that's great. And that makes me feel fantastic, because a lot of people do say that. They say that it still feels like Luke's kind of with us because you're still doing it. And I suppose that is the goal. Like I said, the shows I'm doing, they ain't just my shows. When I step on that stage in Spain, like, if you could look through, a magic pair of glasses, you'll see Luke Sandoe standing behind me hitting the same poses. Like, he'll literally be there with me, like, making sure that I'm doing the best I can, and he'll be in my ear and he'll be working just as hard and sweating just as many buckets of fucking sweat as I will every pose. So I don't know, he's there, he's still there,
Yeah, he has to be. Do you, like, at any point of the day, like, you've spent up to 5 hours a day with him lately, like, since Ben has gone to the States, you picked up where he left as a training partner. And I mean, let's be real, Luke got you on the Redcon team.
Yeah, exactly.
He helped you make the transition. So do you catch yourself ever like thinking like, oh, I have to tell Luke, or I'm gonna see him tomorrow, and then you're like, fuck, it's not.
No, I think because I've experienced, like, my mum passing and my granddad passing. Like, my granddad he's an old man, it was going to happen, but my mum especially, death became a very final thing for me after that. Like, I felt the void of my mother's passing so strongly that whoever, like, if I lose anyone now, like, I know how final it is, if I'm honest. In terms of, like, physically being here the next day. I'm not saying final as in, like, their spirit not being with us, but the whole waking up in the morning expecting to see them, I understand and don't feel that way. It's weird because it feels like Luke passed a lifetime ago, if I'm honest. It feels like a long time ago. Because it was during COVID and now it's easing up and the world's changed. Like, I suppose because when Luke passed, the gyms were closed and I was on my own just in this gym, just lifting weights. And then now the world's back open and there's people around me again. It's almost like, when was that?
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I haven't even thought of that in your situation.
I mean? Yeah, like, it's very, I don't know, like, that happened in a time that the world was so almost depressed and
it was
upset,
terrible.
like the world itself was. And the tragedy happening at that time, it felt like something from a movie, like watching fucking I Am Legend or something. Like, I don't know.
It was
Everything. It was almost like everything was coming to an end, and it was a difficult time. And I suppose it's got easier now because people are around me once again, and many people have showed condolences. And it's unbelievable how many people have said, who I didn't even know who knew anything about Luke, have come up to me and said, "I'm sorry about your friend," and it's really appreciated. It's really appreciated because, these guys, a lot of them, I didn't even know knew anything really about bodybuilding. They're just members of the gym.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But it also shows how influential he was.
Oh, exactly. Like, how many people knew who he was and loved what he did. So
crazy.
You have to just consider yourself blessed that you were even able to be a part of his life.
And you know what I was thinking the other day, like, because the gyms reopened like almost a month ago in England,
Yeah,
and I was thinking like, if you could
just held on.
it was such a short time, man.
I
If
know.
just
But
a
again,
little longer.
it's one of them, and we without going in too deep because I don't
Yeah,
want to.
no.
But we don't know what effects even having the
That.
gym if it would have been
Yeah,
better.
no. Of course, I'm just.
But it would have been if mate. Listen, if I could wake up tomorrow and say, Luke, get your ass down the gym, I certainly would. You know,
And he would be late.
he'd be late and he'd take forever to fucking get started, and he'd.
Was
talk
he
loads
really
of
like that? Was he really like that? Like all the time, or was it just sometimes?
Luke certainly had like no. He certainly needed a bit of a nudge.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm ready. Like I get to the gym with Louis, who I train with, and Steve, and like we have our pre-workout, and we're like, let's fucking go. Luke will get to the gym, sit down, and have a conversation first. Pre-workout probably about half an hour later, and then sit down for another half an hour. By then, you've done an hour and a half, and you're like, getting a bit hungry now.
Oh yeah. We're timing meals and everything, and it's
Yeah, like, and I'm very strict compared to Luke, so for me, it's really difficult because I've got to like kind of zip it because I cared about. At the time, I was obviously like, Luke was the main focus because he had the big show coming up, the British. He was going to win that. So I'm like, okay, I'll do for now.
tag
I'm going to do
along.
because this guy can fucking smash it. But inside a little part of me is like, fucking hell, Luke, like I'm such a fucking strict bodybuilder. Do you know what this is doing to me inside?
But
That's why on the occasional session I would say, you know what, Luke, I can't make it today. I've got to train earlier because, quite honestly, I needed to get my days done some days because he wasn't exactly he didn't have a rocket up his ass. I'll put it that way.
oh, so he was like that.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't know.
just chilled.
Yeah, but do you think that it could have been influenced, or was he like?
He's quite Ben did say he's hard work. Ben was like, "You're gonna get in the gym and you're gonna sit down for a little while," and I was like, "Fuck."
Oh, fuck me.
So it's just the way he was. It's just
Yeah,
wasn't
I
really
didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that about him because I was invited to England for a week,
mate, we
and
wouldn't
I
have
didn't
even
know what
trained.
to expect.
We wouldn't have even trained, mate. We would have sat down and spoke shit. Probably.
No,
It would have got to like 5 p.m. and it would be like, we should probably train.
because I'm like you. I'm like, okay, I ate and I need to train within an hour or an hour and a half.
You know what? Don't get me wrong. If I was probably a little bit too soft, to be honest, because the thing is with Luke, if you did say, "All right, let's go," he would. It's just that
You looked up to him too much, maybe. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like I looked at him.
No, because I'm like,
I
I don't take that shit. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like
I don't normally. I don't normally listen. Like you come train with me in Kings, and you'll see that shit goes down and it happens on time. And
yeah.
I'm agitated if we're not getting started. But like,
we'll see. I'll come to visit and we'll see.
You will. I think it was just different again, like you say with Luke, because when you look up to someone, you kind of just follow their lead.
Yeah. But then again, I spoke to Sarah, his last girlfriend and stuff, and she swore to me that he was on the dot with his meals. Like,
I imagine. Listen, he's spending time in the gym during the day. He had already calculated that. Like he would have known that he doesn't need to rush, but it's just that we don't live like that. So he would have got his 6 meals in a day easily because he lives 2 minutes from the gym. It's just different for someone like me who lives 45 minutes from the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he would never miss a meal. Fucking hell, God, he's a bodybuilder through and through. He just was hilariously slow in the gym.
Well, but that's also, we all have our tempos in life. Like, you know what I mean?
His tempos are very casual, a very chill tempo.
He was an elephant. Like,
I think that's the thing. When maybe it's just because when you're that fucking big, you can't move that fast.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Your favorite Luke story? Any?
It's not really even a story. It's just a time. Like my favorite time with Luke was when we were in Florida together. Like we were over there for the Arnold Classic. So obviously we went to Florida first, where Redcon is, and then we went over to Columbus. Actually, the favorite time. Now there is a favorite time. So we're in Columbus, and it's the last night. We're off to the airport to fly home. We line up for our fucking flight. We get on the plane. We sit in our seats, and then we get instructions from the plane, the pilot, that the flight's cancelled because the panels come off the plane.
I remember that.
Yeah. So me and the fucker had to get a room for the night again. So we had to go back into Columbus, stay in the same place. And by that point, we had no fucking food, obviously, because it was late at night and there was nothing fucking open. And we're two bodybuilders who were supposedly prepping. And we just gave in and said, you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's order McDonald's. And I swear the bastard ordered about £100 worth of McDonald's, including his infamous, fillet.
Fish fillet.
Yeah, fish fillet, whatever it is. And we basically probably got about £50 worth each. We went up into the fucking room. We got high as fuck, and we ate those meals. Loved it. Gave each other a fucking high five and said, "I'm off to bed. I'll see you in the morning."
Fucking hell. I thought you said that you gave each other a rub.
No, I didn't. No. We weren't that. We were close, but we knew where to draw the line. And the thing is, I think people don't realize how close to me and Luke were in that last few months. I know I didn't spend. The funny is, I didn't spend.
People
all the time
have no idea.
No, I really, honestly, it isn't the amount of time you spend with people; it's how quality is and how you connect. And I remember being at Luke's house and sitting there after my mother passed away and just talking to him and confiding in him and crying. I was bawling my eyes out, saying I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. And he was the one person that gave me adult advice. He fucking stood there like a man and said, "James, I understand, blah blah blah, and no, it's not easy, and you are capable, blah blah," and all this stuff that was really important as a friend. And that's why for me, I'm content in my relationship with Luke, and people may not realize how close we were the last. I feel like I was his closest friend at the end. Honestly, I don't know if that was. I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone, but I feel like the fucker would have done anything for me in that last few days. And vice versa. And and that's why when he passed away, it hit me so hard. And same. I shed more tears. I shed actually more tears than I did when my mother passed away, because
I never cried harder in my life.
Yeah, nor did I. And because I don't know, the reason it hurt me so much is because our friendship was just peaking. It was just peaking. Everything had just begun. We had a journey, yeah. We had this fucking plans. He just got me on Redcon, yeah. We had all these visions and all these goals of achieving greatness in bodybuilding together, and we spoke about this. And I can't stress enough, people don't understand these conversations we had and how much he would say, "James, I believe in your ability. You're gonna be fucking fantastic."
Oh,
and
he
was the one person saying that shit. And that's why I honestly loved him more than anyone will ever know. And
yeah.
I choose to not focus a lot on him because it is hurtful. And I miss him greatly, put it that way. And I don't think people understand, and I don't need them to understand, because I know myself what he means to me and how much I'm sorry that he's not here.
Now, people don't understand when it comes to you, and you guys were on camera doing lives and stuff like that. We didn't do that type of stuff. We had a different friendship. We were talking all day, every fucking day for months on end.
Yeah.
And
we'd always bring huge. Your name would come up in conversation every day that we spoke.
Really?
We'd mention, we'd mention Lorenzo every day that we spoke.
No shit.
Every day, because he'd always say that he spoke to you.
Wow.
And that says a lot. That's how you're one of the people that he confided in.
No, I realized when he invited me to his house, and lately I was thinking about it. Nobody was really in his house. You know what I mean? Nobody, very few.
Yeah, he's a private guy. So the fact that you get you get asked, that it's important.
He was very public in the sense that he was on the podcast. He was talking about anuses and weed and all that stuff, but he was extremely private, and people have no idea what Luke behind the scenes was. So I realize that now, how crazy that was that he did that, especially now that I know that he dealt with demons, because I might have seen them for that
Oh,
week that I was there.
oh, definitely, definitely. And he was looking for, he was extremely looking forward to it. Like I remember him
Yeah.
saying we were training, he was like, Lorenzo's going to be over for, I think it was like a week or something. You said, and we were both excited. We were both excited, and then obviously, something happened with his the grandmother of his child in terms of health.
Yeah, and
So,
then
so
literally a day before
yeah, it was a
it all
shame.
got canceled. But
Yeah,
doesn't matter, I still shared so many, like, it's crazy how many things you could share through this.
I'd hate to think how many fucking screenshots you got
Yeah, no, it's
of sarcastic Luke moments on your phone,
he was
or him moaning about some people, including
most
myself.
most people, most people. I
Yeah,
saved your ass
I
like
know, I know, I know. You helped me
in
a little bit
April.
there,
I
but I
saved
love
your
him for that.
ass.
I love him. I love him for the fact that he cared. That something bothered him.
Yeah,
Because if things didn't bother him, then that shows that you don't give a shit. Like it's like any of my closest friends. If they do something and it hurts me, it only hurts me because I love them.
yeah.
And
No,
that's just
it's and I miss him for the fact that you said that thing about adult advice.
yeah.
He
He's very good
was
at that.
the fucking guy, like he just knew what to tell you.
Mate, listen. The funny thing is, yeah. Look, Fuad is a 40-whatever-year-old man, yeah.
And he
And
listened to him, yeah.
Fuad says it. He says it all the time that he felt exactly that way about Luke. That same thing that we just said there. And the man is a 31-year-old man at the time, 30, coming up 32, I believe, who can still educate and help people who are fucking 20 years his senior, 10 years his senior, whatever it is.
And you know
It's
what's
a
funny?
unique ability.
I've seen like 10, 15 people that were close to him, from Rebecca Andrews to Ben, you, Fuad. Everyone says he was their best friend. You know
Because
what?
that's how he made you feel. That's how he made you
I was
feel.
the same. Like the things that he would tell you, like, like the little things, like playing video games, just
Mm,
chatting shit, being personal, like telling
yeah,
me which house he wanted to buy, who he wanted to marry, like
yeah.
which chick is now, in the line,
Oh, mate.
like things like that, where you
I
you
think I
don't
think
like.
Luke would have had a line of 10 wives by the end of it. I love him.
Hey, the man had his
Let's
I
just
can't
let's
find
just
the
say,
words.
yeah, I know what you're saying. Let's just say that he's a bit of a stud, maybe.
But at the end of the day, he was always a sweetheart.
Oh
He
yeah.
always knew how to care for each and every individual that he was.
I think the thing with Luke wants to care for everybody, and that's the thing. Like
That's the thing. And
Luke would be perfect if you put him in like an Arabic country where you can have 10 wives, and he would love them all. He'd look after them all because he's got so much fucking love to give the bastard. You know what I mean?
fucking harem
Do
shit.
you know what I mean? Though, because he was so able to fucking care for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah. No, it's like that too. Like I see 3 or 4 women, 5 claim they were soulmates. You know
oh,
what
of
I mean?
course, and rightly so, because that tells you what Luke made people feel, and that's what you
Yeah.
say about the friend thing. Every one of us feel like we were his best friend because that's how he intended for us to feel.
Yeah.
He wanted us to feel good, and that's probably the best quality that arose from that young man.
Yeah, he was what he did in his 31 years on this planet. By the way, he's born in 88, not
I
89.
know, God,
Fucking hell.
I know. I've had to fucking say it over and over again.
He's
And
32.
he's a year older than me. He's my senior.
Fucking hell. Yeah,
And that was,
even
that was
though.
the only reason I ever felt okay about my physique because I was like, I might have 1 year.
Ah, yeah.
That's it. That was literally that's the only thing that ever kept me going. I was like, okay,
That's
so I'm not
that's
ready.
how I feel about Nick Walker.
Yeah.
He's 1 year senior.
He's a freak. He's massive. Fucking
He
hell.
is.
That's some crazy shit.
On that note, um, we have to stop at some point, and it's been an hour and a half. I mean, we could have kept it going for 5 hours.
Oh, I bet you know what it's like. It's easy to talk, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but you're already tired. You've been podcasting for the whole day.
This is the life of a pro.
Like, oh, bro. Well, you work towards that, you know.
Podcasting, and what did I do today? Podcasts, barbershop, food shop,
Yeah.
cardio, and posing. That's it.
Fucking hell, I need to get on that level, man.
It'll
It
come.
sounds too good.
It'll come. Just
It'll
keep
come.
fucking working, bro. Listen, I didn't turn pro till, what was it? So 2017, so 3 years ago. So yeah,
28.
28. So you've got a few years yet, mate.
3 years.
Exactly.
And that's
You
what
do
I
it.
tend to do.
Do it,
I'll do that.
motherfucker.
For Luke.
For Luke,
I'll do that
that's
for Luke.
for Luke is
It's my hashtag. Every post I post, my first hashtag is for Luke.
but that's kind of like what, you know, this Spain show. Even though I don't hashtag it, because the reason I don't hashtag it is just because I feel it. I know, you know, I get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the next 7 weeks of work is literally, you know, it's for Luke. So we'll see what happens.
Let's fucking go, man. I would come to see you, but it's just impossible in this.
Just come to Vegas in 2021. It's fine.
2021, not 2020.
No, because if we can't get there due to COVID, they've honoured that the qualification will carry over.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yep.
Exclusive information.
They give me a year.
That's very fucking good.
So win that shit. One more year with hard work with Patrick, and then fucking go to that Olympia and make a massive statement.
We'll get Aaron to get me over, to fly me over.
I need my journalist with me.
I'll shave the ass crack. No problem.
There you go.
All right, buddy.
Mustard.
We'll talk probably a minute from now anyway, because we talk all the time. So, yeah, that's
Pleasure.
it, guys. Next in line, I'm going to have another special guest.
No, can't tell us who. Can't tell us who. Even I'm interested now.
It's, try to guess. It's a top coach from America.
There's too many. I'll leave it there. I'll let the people guess. See, I'll check out the comments below.
We'll see. All right, we're going to share it everywhere. Hopefully it's going to blow up. If not, that's okay too. We had a nice conversation.
Definitely.
Guys, until the next one.
Thanks.
Peace.
Cheers, buddy.